Hey guys and gals, just want to come at you real quick today with a review for the third-person psychological horror game called Through the Woods. It's fresh off the press and developed by Norwegian studio Antagonist. It's been acclaimed as the best indie game and most anticipated game during GDC and PAX of 2016. Well, as of today, it's here. I've played a ton of it, so buckle up for the review. And to avoid spoilers, I will be using mostly footage from the early stretches of the game.
Something terrible happened there.
Alright, so first and foremost, the backstory to Through the Woods goes way back in time. This game is drenched in Norse folklore and mythology, which stems from Norse paganism, founded and practiced by the northern Germanic people with the Old Norse texts and the Prose Edda dating back to the 13th century. But the stories and folklore in those texts date back even further to the age of Vikings prior to the Christianization of Scandinavia during the 8th century. That's all cool, but most people will recognize Norse folklore when referencing the old god Thor. But monsters, they hide within the mythology too, most notably forest trolls and Mara, the Nordic peasant woman who turns into a vicious werewolf every midnight. Is Mara the monster hunting you when the sun goes down and Through the Woods? That's up for you to discover. Norse culture and Norway are places known for ships and seafaring, frigid alpine forest environments, and tons of eerie fog that rises when the hot sun hits the freezing waters. And that's exactly what you get in Through the Woods. An eerie alpine environment, thick with trees that seem to have personalities all to themselves, twisted and gnarled, and cornicing out at you as you traverse the game world. It feels threatening, like the trees are gonna come alive and wrap themselves around you and never let you out. Darkness creeps in alarmingly fast when the sun drops below the horizon. It's immersive, scary, it's very scary. The story is simple. Your son is missing, and through dynamic narration, you play the mother's retelling of the events surrounding her son's disappearance. It's the path of a terrified woman who is forcing herself to cross this terrible place for the sole purpose of finding her son. Through the Woods is primarily a horror game. Aside from the horror though, it's mainly a narrative traversal experience. You'll stumble across old villages ransacked and weathered down by the wind and time itself. Stories carved into journals telling tales of horse hunts, kidnapping, murder, and skeletons of those that lived long ago, resting peacefully in their beds. It's all just material for you to absorb, get in tune with the atmosphere, and piece together not only the story of what happened to your son, but what happened to this Nordic area, its people, the detritus, and the shell of the villages that you wander through. In fact, when the sun is out, Through the Woods feels like an eerie exploration game with a thick layer of lore as its foundation. But when the night falls, the game turns into a different kind of story. Jump scares combined with eerie quietness during tense moments really make for a riveting experience moment to moment. Because the environment is so ominous and so well crafted, the horror is real. Antagonist is quoted as saying, "Through the Woods is attempting to capture the forest as they saw it as children, with all the frightening and mysterious feelings of roaming through the woods alone. At times, the tension that lingers in the air as you walk through the dimly lit forest seeking answers is incredibly intoxicating. A noble flashlight is your main tool to light up the darkness. There's something out there in the woods. You may not be able to see it, but it's there. I can't say too much more lest I spoil the story and the anxiety of the game, but just know that there are a few surprises in store for you." The developers also went out to Sognesvann, a genuine Norwegian forest 20 minutes from the office in Oslo, to capture the sounds of the forest, the wind, the howling, the water, and the trees. And it's paid off. It never mars or gets in the way of the gameplay, but often is something intangible in the background. I think of good sound when I hardly notice it, when it becomes part of the experience, and Through the Woods manages to take me to this place. Also, on-the-fly narration is used to fill in the spaces of emptiness that the chilling environment creates.
Freezing. What is it doing out in this cold?
In light of this narrative-style pacing, one could argue that there's very little replayability in this game. I could argue with you yes or no, but it's more about the quality of experience here and less about the quantity. The game's also a little bit buggy, the frame rate hitches a little bit, and the graphics clip in a little bit from time to time. Those are all nitpicky and pretty common in indie games though. In the end, Through the Woods ends up being an enjoyable atmospheric game, but not much more than that. I can't recommend it to everyone as it commits a criminal sin for a lot of players. It just does not have a lot of gameplay. It's 4 or 5 hours of walking, running, and reading. But to be fair, not every game needs to be filled with action, nor is it touting as such. So if you dig these games, I say go for it. It's on sale right now for 18 bucks, and you'll have a good time. Thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe to Downward Thrust now if you'd like to support our growing channel and be delivered more awesome reviews and other interesting gaming videos. Have a kick-ass day, guys.